In this lesson, we're going to discuss the concept of a gap analysis. Now, a gap analysis is a process of evaluating the differences between an organization's current performance and its desired performance. The goal of this analysis is to identify areas where improvements can be made in order to bridge the gap between the current and desired states. Conducting a gap analysis can be a really valuable tool for organizations that are looking to improve their operations, processes, and overall performance. There are several steps involved in conducting a gap analysis. The first step is to define the scope of the analysis. This involves identifying the specific areas of the organization that are going to be evaluated and the desired outcome of the analysis itself. The next step is to gather data on the current state of the organization. This can be done through surveys, interviews, and other forms of data collection based on your organization's preference. Once that data has been gathered, it's then going to be analyzed to identify any areas where the organization's current performance is falling short of its desired performance. Now, once the gaps have been identified, the next step is to develop a plan to bridge that gap. This can include changes to processes, systems, or other areas of the organization that are going to help us to improve our performance. Your plan needs to include specific goals and objectives, as well as a timeline for achieving those. Now, let me give you a real-world example of using a gap analysis during a migration from an on-premise to a cloud-based solution. Let's say your organization decided to make the move into the cloud. Well, at this point, it's important for them to evaluate the current state of the organization's systems and processes and then compare them to the desired state of the organization's systems and processes once you've moved into the cloud. A gap analysis can help you identify an area where the organization may need to make changes in order to ensure a successful migration. For example, an organization may find that its current systems are not compatible with a cloud-based solution, or that its current processes are not efficient enough to take full advantage of the benefits of moving into the cloud. A gap analysis can help the organization identify these issues and then develop a plan to address them and overcome those challenges. Another example is when a company is using a managed service provider known as an MSP. Now, a managed service provider is a company that provides a variety of IT services on a contract basis to organizations and businesses. These services can include things like monitoring and maintaining your networks, your servers, and other IT infrastructure, or providing technical support, or managing the security, backups, and other IT-related tasks for you. These managed service providers can provide these services on-site or remotely, and they typically operate on a subscription-based model, with clients paying a monthly or annual fee for the services being provided. Now, a gap analysis can help the company to identify the areas where a managed service provider can provide the most value and then help to achieve the desired outcome. The company would first look at their current state and then evaluate their systems and processes and compare them to the desired state that they want to achieve with the help of a managed service provider who does this all day, every day, and is really good at doing these type of migrations. Now, you have to determine if your organization should use a managed service provider. To help you do that, I want you to consider a few basic questions. First, what are your IT objectives? Second, what is the current state of your IT? Third, what are the risks and challenges that your organization is facing? Fourth, how much time and resources does your organization have to devote to IT? Fifth, what is your organization's budget for IT? Now, if you can answer those 5 questions, you're going to be able to quickly identify the areas where a managed service provider could provide you with the most value and help you achieve your desired outcomes. Now, in general, there are 2 basic types of gap analysis: a technical gap analysis and a business gap analysis. Now, a technical gap analysis in the world of cloud computing involves evaluating an organization's current technical infrastructure and identifying any areas where it falls short of the technical capabilities that are required to fully utilize these cloud-based solutions. For example, if an organization finds that its current network infrastructure is not fast enough to support cloud-based applications, or that its current security protocols are not robust enough to protect the data being stored in the cloud, then that is a gap that needs to be addressed. Once the gaps have been identified, the organization can then develop a plan to address these different issues and upgrade its technical infrastructure as required. A great real-world example of a technical gap analysis might be if your organization is thinking about migrating its email servers and systems into a cloud-based solution, such as using Microsoft Office 365 or Google's G Suite. The company would conduct a technical gap analysis to determine if its current network infrastructure can support the increased bandwidth requirements of using a cloud-based email system instead of using an on-premise one. The company might also evaluate if their current system security protocols will meet the standards for cloud-based email systems. Once those gaps have been identified, the company can then develop a plan to upgrade its network infrastructure and security protocols as needed to be able to move into this cloud environment. Now, the second type of gap analysis we have is known as a business gap analysis. A business gap analysis involves evaluating an organization's current business processes and identifying any areas where they fall short of the capabilities required to fully utilize cloud-based solutions in the business environment. For example, your organization may find that its current data management processes are not sufficient enough to support cloud-based data storage and sharing. Or you might find that your current budgeting and forecasting processes are not accurate enough to support cloud-based financial management. Once the gaps have been identified, the organization can develop a plan to improve its business processes as required. Now, another great example of a business gap analysis in the world of cloud computing might be if you worked for a retail company that wants to move its e-commerce platform to a cloud-based solution, such as going to AWS, Microsoft Azure, or GCP. The company would conduct a business gap analysis to determine its current data management processes and to verify if they're efficient enough to support a cloud-based e-commerce platform. That company might also evaluate if their current budgeting and forecasting processes are also accurate enough to support the real-time reporting and analytic capabilities that a cloud-based e-commerce platform is going to need. Once you've identified any gaps, you can then develop a plan to be able to overcome those gaps inside of data management or the budgeting processes to make sure your systems will work efficiently and effectively. Now, in both of these examples, the gap analysis is going to provide your organization with a really clear understanding of where it currently stands and what steps it needs to take in order to fully utilize these cloud-based solutions and improve its overall operations. This can ultimately lead to better performance, cost savings, and increased competitiveness when you're working as an organization and you've made this migration into the cloud. So remember, a gap analysis is a really powerful tool that can help your organization to improve its performance by identifying areas where improvements are going to be able to be made. Now, whether you're looking to migrate into the cloud, improve your IT systems, or to use a managed service provider, a gap analysis can help you achieve your desired outcomes. By following the steps of the gap analysis, you can ensure that you have a comprehensive plan in place to bridge the gap between your current state and your desired state.